Hello boys and girls, how are you? So now it's science time, and what we're going to do is we're going to do chapter 1. We are still in chapter 1, so we're going to do how do we make a pinball start to move. We have been talking about making a pinball machine in class, but let's get started. So we already did lesson 1.1, lesson 1.2, lesson 1.3, and today we're going to do lesson 1.4. We are engineers, so let's click on that. Remember, each time you click on a new lesson, you always get a PowerPoint, so we're going to open that PowerPoint right now. There you go. Okay, lesson 1.4, we are engineers. So the activity, we are like engineers. So we are going to be like engineers, boys and girls. We have been learning about how and why things move so we can design or make a pinball machine for our class to use. Now, boys and girls, I know I said we were going to make a pinball machine. Unfortunately, since you're at home, we can't do this. If you still want to do the pinball machine at home, that's okay. Go ahead. You don't have to, but if you want to, that is fine. But you can do, we're going to do something a little different. But we're still going to make a pinball machine, but not as a model because you guys are at home. Okay? So let's move on. The vocabulary for today is engineer. An engineer is a person who makes something in order to solve a problem, okay? So if you want to write this down on a piece of paper or in your notebook, go right ahead. Your vocabulary, engineer. Okay, let's move on. As we work to design a pinball machine, we are doing many things engineers do, okay? So we're going to have to find a problem. So on the left, it says what engineers do, and we're going to find a problem. And engineers learn by investigating and figuring out how things work. So engineers have to learn to figure out what is going on, figure out the problem, and then investigate, okay? Our chapter question, how do we make a pinball start to move? So think about that. How can we make a pinball move, okay? Because since we're designing a pinball machine, we have to figure out how we're going to make that pinball move, okay? So think about it. That's a question you have to think. Our investigation question. What makes an object start to move? So the object in the pinball machine is the ball. So now you have to know how we're going to make that ball move in the pinball machine, okay? So keep that in mind too. How are we going to make that ball move? Now, remember, when we use words to help us explain why things move, we always use the word because. And then the sentence says the ball, like I'm going to use the sentence that they have here with the filling. The ball started to move because the boy exerted force on it. So what are things that we made move in our classroom? So we did an activity with the rug ball where we sat in a circle, and our goal was to move the ball within the circle. And I told you that while you guys were sitting in the circle and rolling the ball to a classmate, that we had to make sure that the ball could not leave the circle. You boys and girls were exerting force into the ball with your hands. And I remember one of you guys said, yeah, and we're not throwing it, we're rolling it. So that's how we were passing it to classmates. So that's how you guys were making that ball move. So now that you know when we did that game, now think about how we're going to make the ball move in the pinball machine, okay? We have been explaining why things move. Scientists call this cause and effect. We show cause and effect when we use the word because. So again, they said because the blank started to move because blank exerted a force on it. So that's the sentence that we have to think in our minds. How can the ball move because of this and this, okay? Let's think about this sentence. So when we read this sentence, the nut started to move because the string exerted a force on it. The nut started to move is what happened. It is the effect. The string exerting a force on it made it happen. This means this is the cause, okay? So what it's saying is just the nut started to move, and that's what happened, and that was the effect, and the exerting force on it made that happen. So that was the cause. So that's when we always say cause and effect. If there's a cause, then there's always an effect, right? Okay, so we'll move on and we'll explain cause and effect a little more down the line of each lesson, okay? We're only doing lesson 1.4, and we're only talking about the pinball machine and how we're going to make that object move, okay? Let's try other examples. So here, I'm going to make it, we have a picture of a boy who's moving a ball, and it says start to move, and on the left it says force. So what kind of force did he use? Did he push? Did he pull? Did he throw? Did he kick? Or did he hit? So by looking at this, I'll make it bigger, think about what force is he exerting onto that ball. Push, pull, throw, kick, or hit. Now, you can see how the arrow is showing where the ball is going, okay? So keep that in mind. They're using an arrow, okay? So in this little picture, the boy is exerting force by kicking, okay? If you thought it was kicking, then you got it. I also have some other things over here that I'm gonna show you. Some that I was gonna show you in class about different types of the boy exerting force. So the first one he's throwing, and the second one he's throwing again. Right there, he is kicking the ball with his knee, and then it's going higher. Then they're throwing the ball to people throwing ball here, and then they're a little farther distance. And here, this somebody's pushing the toy car up a ramp, and then it's going up. So those are examples of exerting force. Okay. Let's move on. Now, to make a pinball machine, we need to think about the machine needs to be able to do when it's finished. We will add new goals over time. So each time we finish with something, we're always going to add a different goal. Okay, boys and girls? The first goal is to make the pinball start to move. That is our goal. We have to make that pinball start to move. Okay? This is the box model. We will use a box model to try out ideas. This will help us decide what we should do in our class pinball machine. Now, like I said, we're not in class right now, but if you have a box, something similar to this, and you want to do the pinball machine at home, that is okay. And if your parents can help you, that is great. And if they want to record you doing this, making this pinball machine, then that's excellent. And then your parents can email it to me, and I can share it to the class, okay? So you can do this if you want. You don't have to, but you could, because I know we're not in class right now. This is our box material, so this is what you will need, okay? You will need a box, a rubber band, and a ball. Only 3 things: a box, rubber band, and a ball. So I'm going to say this in Spanish, so the parents who only speak Spanish, esta es una caja que vamos a hacer en la clase, pero como no estamos en clases, no la tienen que hacer, pero si los niños quieren hacer este modelo del pinball machine, sí lo pueden hacer. Necesitan una caja, un lazo, rubber band y una pelota. Y aquí más abajo les voy a enseñar cómo hacerlo. So I just said that they don't have to do this. It's not mandatory. Only if the kids want to do it to see how the pinball machine works. But I'll have a worksheet that goes with this so they can do the pinball machine. I know it's a little different because it's not hands-on, but because we're not in school, I don't want them to have so much to do with the material and having the hassle doing this project, because not everybody can do this project, okay? So I'm gonna move down. You will use the rubber band to make the table tennis ball start to move. So you're gonna use the rubber band to make the ball move. So you already know the rubber band is the one that is gonna probably help you move that ball. Okay, so let's think of a safe way to use the material. Then I'll show you some ideas for using them, okay? So aquí dice que van a usar un lazo para mover la pelota, okay? Here's a little clip, but it's not working right now. It's frozen, so I'm just gonna go down. Work in your box models to make the pinball start to move. So you have to work and make the ball move. And then while you're doing this, discuss what you're doing with someone at home or by yourself. But while you're doing this, ask yourself questions and think, okay, what am I doing next? Okay, I'm doing this, and then keep in mind, okay? Since a lot of you may not want to do you don't have to do the project. There's a model that I'm gonna send to you, to your parents, and it's in your investigation notebook. I did not give this to you guys, but this is the worksheet you're going to get. It's on the left. It's called the box model diagram. And what you're going to do, you're drawing the launcher. The launcher is the rubber band, boys and girls. So you would use this frame to create the diagram. A diagram is an illustration or a picture that shows how something works or what it is, what its parts are. So les voy a mandar ese papel que enseña aquí en la izquierda. es el papel que les voy a mandar a sus hijos para que lo completen en la casa para hacer este modelo de la pelota moviéndose, okay? So I will send this to you guys after this video, okay? So you can have, and this PowerPoint too. The diagram shows the parts you have worked with so far in your box model. Let's review the parts of the diagram. So the box is rectangle because obviously if you're going to do this at home with the box and we were going to do it in class, the box is rectangle, so that's why it's a rectangle box. And it has little lines on the side, and you're going to see what's that for in a minute. There you go. I will show you how to make a box model diagram. So I will pretend I put my launcher here. So they're pretending that they're putting the launcher here. Notice that they have an orange arrow. When you're doing this diagram on your piece of paper that I'm going to send to you, make sure you're also doing arrows because that's what you're telling me that you know what direction it's going. Like it's going over here, or especially when you're moving the ball and exerting the force, okay? So they're using the orange arrow to show you, and the rubber band, they're pretending that it's there. Now, when you do the diagram at home, basically they're already telling you how to do this. It will show you in orange. I will show you an orange crayon to draw your launcher. So what I did is they put an orange crayon, and the orange crayon is the rubber band. Guys, the rubber band is the orange crayon. See how you see the orange there? And it's important for your diagram to show where you place objects on your box. So when you're doing this worksheet at home, please try to use a different color or something to I know where you place your objects. Remember, the objects are the ball and the launcher. The box is already there. You see that rectangle? That's the box. We will also need to draw the ball in the diagram to show how it moves. So you need to draw the ball in the diagram inside the box and where it's moving. And if I were you, and like I told you, do arrows and say where exactly is that ball going, okay? Because remember, the one that you have to think, who is making that ball move? If you already figure out what's making the ball move, then good job. But yes, so draw the ball too inside that diagram. When we make notes, we have to remember what we do. So remember when I'm telling you, when you're doing stuff, you have to, so what am I doing? Am I doing this and doing that? So right here, you can have another worksheet on the left, page 4, and it says draw the launcher in orange, which they told you have to use an orange because the launcher is the rubber band, and it says draw the ball and draw the ball move. See how they used an arrow? That's why I'm telling you when you do the diagram on the paper to use arrows, because that tells me that tells me where the ball is going and telling you where the ball's going, where the launcher exerted force on that ball and where it's going, what direction. So arrows are very important on this part, in this activity, okay? Then turn to page 5. That's where you will create your diagram of how the ball moved in your box model. And your box model is right here on the left. It's page 5, okay? So you only have to do page 4 and page 5, and I will email that to your parents so you can start doing this, okay? And then after that, you will email me those diagrams or bring them to the school when you're done. And that is it for this lesson. You have, I'm going to show you a completed one so you can see how it should look like. Here you go. So this is a completed box model. Students were able to place their flippers and bumpers and target. They used to draw any shape on their target. So they used a star here. So you can use any shape if you want. If you don't want to use the ball, you can use any shape. See how they did? This is just an example. They used where the ball was moving. They put these right here on the left, where it says 4.3, boys and girls, don't do those. 5.1, don't do that. You're only doing the box model with the ball. 4.3 and 2.3, 5.1, 5.2, all that stuff, it's for the next lessons, okay? So all you have to do is draw the ball with the arrow and then the launcher. The rest of the stuff that's going through those little things, like where it says 4.3, don't do that. Don't do 5.2 either, because those are actually adding, that's when we add more stuff. That's when we add more goals into this little project activity, okay? So don't do that. Just do the launcher, which is the orange, and the ball, and where the ball's going to use arrows, okay? And after, when we do a lesson, you always have a clipboard assessment tool. I will also send this to your parents. So what you need to do is, and what you need to know by the end of this is that what are you showing in your diagram? Why did the ball start to move? So that's 2 questions. And then the other question is, what is the object that started to move? So that's another question. Why did it start to move? So those are 4 questions. What are you showing in your diagram? Why did the ball start to move? What is the object that started to move in the picture? Why did it start to move? So esas son 4 preguntas que vamos a preguntar cuando ya terminamos en el lesson 1.4 y 1.5. So we only did 1.4 today, so don't worry about the second one if you really want to start on this. 1.5 is for Wednesday. So if you want to start working on this, that's fine. I will email you this, the PowerPoint and the worksheets that will go along with this. And then any questions, comment. I'll be here. Where tomorrow's a teacher work day. I'll be here from 8:30 to 3. So if you want to email me, I'm right here also. Check my email. I'll constantly be on. If you need any help, call the school. But thank you. That's it for today. Have a nice day. Be safe out there. Students, love